So I'm very excited about the town we're going to visit today. First off, it's in the hill country, and well, who doesn't love that? But it's got a historic square, a river going right through the middle of it, a brewery, and I'm going to get to try a new sport for the very first time. But wait, what's the name of this place? I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank. Oh yeah, Blanco. Oh yeah, Blanco! This episode was made for y'all with the help of our awesome partners. Check the caption for more info. Blanco sits near the center of the Texas Hill Country, surrounded by towns like Fredericksburg, Johnson City, Wimberley, and Boerne. It's about an hour from both Austin and San Antonio, making for an easy trip-o to Blanco. And just to get it out of the way, yes, it is properly mispronounced as Blanco. Very different from Blanco, the Spanish word for white, as this town is anything but with its green hills and blue waters. All right, there are these towns out here in the hill country that you can drive through in like 5 minutes, or you can spend an entire day kind of exploring the back roads. You'd be amazed at what you can find in some of these towns when you just slow down a little bit and explore. And that's exactly the agenda for today. Blanco has less than 2,000 folks, but all the history and activities of a town much bigger, but all wrapped in a laid-back, hill country sort of way. Come to find out, it was the county seat at one point, and in 1886, Blanco got its own courthouse, which administered hill country justice for a short-lived 4 years, because in 1890, the government moved up the road to Johnson City. But from that point on, it served as everything from a high school to a hospital, and was even a barbecue joint. Today, it's a museum, a meeting place, and the historic anchor of this community. Okay, now this is the courtroom. Completely empty, but you can still feel how it would have been set up. Judge's bench up there, jury box on the side. Look at this, it's old graffiti. Don't tell me that says seniors 29. I think that one says Garner. It's either Garner or Carter. I'm gonna pretend it says Garner. This courtroom has such great character and grit that in 2010 it was used as the set for the courthouse scene in the blockbuster True Grit. I mean, they really didn't have to change a whole lot. It already feels like a Western courthouse. Like Jeff Bridges. Oh, sorry. Rooster Cogburn, of course. I mean, he's set like right here. Right here.
Mr. Cogburn.
Huh?
In your 4 years as U.S. Marshal, how many men have you shot?
I'm not a U.S. Marshal, I'm a day tripper.
That was not the question. How many?
Shot or killed?
Let us restrict it to killed so that we may have a manageable figure.
Maybe 12, 15.
Around 12, he says. Or 15.
Whoa, I'm actually in the movie, and I'm not too bad if I do say so myself. But this lawyer guy is really great, waving his arms around and all with the cool beard. Wait, my lines are coming up.
I believe you testified you backed away from Aaron Warden.
That's right.
Which direction were you going?
Well, I always go backwards when I'm backing up.
Very easy.
Nailed it. They love me. I could play any part in this movie. Wait, why does that little girl look like me?
What would that be?
What did he ask?
25?
Oh man,
Will you
I forgot my lines.
explain to this jury, Mr. Cogburn, why Mr. Warden was found?
Let me just
immediately by
step
his
out for a little while and get back to my
one arm in the
TV
fire,
show.
his sleeve
Now,
and
while
his
we're talking Hollywood and Texas, there's another spot up the road that's probably been in more movies than John Wayne himself, or at least its props have. The Blanco Buggy Barn Museum. This place has over 100 buggies, many of which have been carted all over the country to star in films and TV shows like There Will Be Blood.
I'm Daniel Plainview, and this is my buggy, LB. Little Buggy.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
7 years ago, our forefathers brought forth from this continent.
Revolution.
We have to turn the power back on. Haven't tweeted in months.
And Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman.
I'm not a woman, I'm a doctor. Quinn Medicine Woman.
This is basically like walking through a studio props department, and our tour guide, Mr. Jack Rogers, has put a lot of blood and sweat into this collection.
This one here is our Victoria. It was used in Gone with the Wind, Virginia City, and The Matchmaker. It still has its inventory tag on it from the studio.
A54H.
I don't think we have two of the same. Each one has something unique about it, whether it's the springs, whether it swings side to side. Our hotel bus belonged to Jack Palance.
The Jack Palance, Mr. One-Handed Push-Up Jack Palance.
That's him. And our handsome cab over here was built in 1896.
So the driver sits back above.
Yep, he never gets down. Front door's open, client gets in, sits down, hands the money up through the roof to him, and off they go. The fancier buggies and stuff, they all would have been probably up north in the later 1800s. They might have made the San Antonio, but then only rich people would have had them.
Rich folks who could afford the latest in buggy technology. Things like headlights, rubber tires, double turning wheels. We still don't have that in our modern cars.
This one here is a completely restored Hearst.
Whoa.
It's all completely hand carved. It actually has a belly built in the bottom of it right here. That's where they would put ice to
keep the smell down and keep that body a little bit cool till it goes in the ground.
When I was restoring it, I always felt a little bit creepy inside it. It has a ghost. And this is a picture right here that shows the ghost that's in it.
Dun, dun, dun. Can y'all see anything in the viewfinder when you put it at the hearse over here?
Because if you do, I'm leaving.
I gotta be honest, I have never been interested in buggies, but that's what I love about great museums. They can take something that you might think is boring, and in just a few minutes, they'll have you riding the buggy train of excitement. Yeehaw! Time to hop back on our steel wagon and head toward the chuck wagon, because this tripper is hungry. Now back on the square, you'll find a handful of great restaurants. There's local businesses and local shopping, although most of it is for the ladies. Would y'all let me film a day tripper episode wearing these pants?
Let you? Require you.
But above it all, the thing that attracts the most trippers to the square is our lunch spot. Time for a landmark kind of lunch. This is the Redbud Cafe. It's half restaurant, half bakery, half bar. That math does work out, I promise. It's proof that sometimes you can make everyone happy, which is what owners John and Jan Breiger do every day. This is the kind of place where like every walk of life mixes.
Definitely.
Yes,
Very
it's
much
really,
so.
it's amazing.
They're potters by trade, but when this old hardware store went abandoned, well, they couldn't help but see a blank lump of clay waiting to be molded into the most charming restaurants in Texas.
Yeah, what we were going for was a place to have really good food that was made from scratch, kind of home cooking kind of stuff, and focus on the local brewery and also have a place for the community to gather.
Are making sandwiches anything like making pots?
Well, yeah, you put them together well and they look beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they taste good too.
Oh, there you go.
Well, not so much with the pot.
So it's not just gonna taste good, it's gonna look good too.
That's the idea.
The food here is as good as homemade sandwiches get. And the drinks? Well, craft brew almost always hits the spot, but Redbud's Lavender Lemonade is their sweet spot.
We make a lavender lemonade that people come for.
Sort of crush it up and put it in the cup?
You brew a tea from the buds of the lavender and then you add that to the lemonade.
Oh man, so many choices. I'm gonna need some help with my lunch. Reuben or meatloaf sandwich? Like, I don't know.
Maybe you should get two and split them.
What do you think?
Are you talking to me?
Can you eat the other half of that sandwich? I can eat the other half. All right, and since I know where we're headed this afternoon, I'm gonna go lavender lemonade. Big fan of the meatloaf sandwich, and this is probably the best meatloaf sandwich I've ever had. I don't know if I'm gonna give you the other half of the sandwich, Richie, I'm just gonna be honest.
I'll just take it.
Get out of here. Pastrami, sauerkraut, Russian dressing, rye bread. Take me away to my happy Reuben land. I mean, this place is really cool. You can tell it's just such a good representative sample of Blanco. You got the great sandwiches, you got the bar with the taps back there. I mean, no one's offended by there being beer around at a sandwich shop. It's just part of what they do here in Blanco. So if you spend more than a minute exploring town, you'll notice that it has a certain infatuation with a certain purple flower. And that's because Blanco is the lavender capital of Texas. And if you're here in the summer, you can pick some purple for yourself. Not the most manly thing I've ever done, but let's go pick some lavender. Or at least learn about it. And so we're tripping to Hill Country Lavender, run by local Tasha Breiger. Okay, so I have never clipped lavender before.
Okay.
You probably get a lot of guys who say that.
Just a few, just a few.
Okay.
Okay, so we have scissors and twist ties.
Okay.
And then I'll go out and show you how to cut.
Hill Country Lavender was Texas's first and now most famous commercial lavender farm. And the entire thing is covered in little puffs of the purple stuff.
And you're gonna look for purple on the blooms. So we always look for the ones where you're going about halfway up the bloom with the purple.
Okay.
And you go right down to where the leaves start, and that's where you're gonna cut.
Okay.
You know.
Ta-da! First
See?
one.
First one, there you go.
Where's the good stuff? Is that in the flowers?
Yeah, the buds themselves are the good stuff. I mean, the leaves smell nice.
That smells excellent,
They,
actually.
the difference is that the buds are a little truer in the lavender scent, and the leaves have a little more camphor in them. More herbal,
yeah,
versus,
woody, like
exactly.
campfire or something like that.
Yeah.
That's supposed to-
Get all the way up there, Chet. Just ram it.
Stick
Get
it
it
up
all
the
the way up
nose.
there.
Can't quite take in every scent on this one. Let me just go further in. See, this can be fun for everyone, even dudes. Although many of us have our limitations when it comes to flowers. I'm a good ways away from a twisty tie, right?
Mine's prettier than yours.
Way prettier. I'm not so good with height.
Pull the short ones, the long ones down to make them short. That way they're all one length.
Aha! So lavender does come from France, but just like our wine grapes, it has become very well adapted to the Texas Hill Country. Maybe I am getting in touch with my lavender side. Todd, hold my scissors. I shall frolic! Truthfully, I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this stuff. And if you aren't the crafty type either, well, good news. Tasha has already done the work for you. They make tons of items with their lavender. Soaps, bug sprays, plus lots of items to aid in relaxation. So is that really like the lavender's main purpose? Like just calm down?
Yes, it is.
Well, I got a house full of kids. Like I'm gonna get a lot more lavender and just like hang it
In their rooms,
in every
under
doorway.
their bed.
Calm down. And if you really want to chill, boil it down to the essential oil. Can you like rub it on your temples and go to Happy Land?
Yes, you can go to Happy Land.
I think my face is gonna smell like lavender the rest of the day. That's
It
a
is,
good thing.
Or 2 or 3.
Oh no! Oh, this has been fun. But is anyone else getting sleepy? I think I might stick around a little longer.
I think that lavender's really kicking in. Y'all keep going with your day trip. Don't mind me. It is stinky inside of this hat.
That'll wake you up. We now interrupt this programming to remind you to like and subscribe. Now back to the road. While we're outdoors, let's do some exploring. For an adventurer, the hill country is one giant playground, from the scrub-covered hilltops to the rivers that carve paths between them. Speaking of rivers, Blanco's got a great one, and it's right in the middle of town at Blanco State Park. You know, this is really cool. Most people think of state parks as places you have to drive to, way out in the country. But Blanco State Park is literally right in the middle of town. And of course, I never leave home without my suit, especially when tripping the hill country, because with all the water, you're never too far from a swimming hole. And there's nothing like water pounding your head to wash away any stress. Now, this park is only about 100 acres total, but it surrounds both banks of the river for about a half a mile, setting up a small but spectacular slice of hill country heaven. Folks come here to fish, birdwatch, and camp. But all I need today is a little time to bask in the beauty of God's green earth. Oh, all right. Just enough for a quick little dip. Now we're back on the road. For something a little more manly than picking lavender. But just like dudes can pick flowers, ladies can visit this place too, so long as they're ladies who love craft beer. It's funny to think that one of the biggest craft breweries in Texas is like down a dirt road in the middle of the hill country. Okay, who else is as thirsty as I am? I am. Todd? Perfect. All right, let's go. Real Ale started back in 1996, but as you can tell from its incredible new facility and tasting room, that they've come a long way since their days of brewing in a basement on the square. This is Tim, the Director of Brewing Operations. Real Ale offers free tours on weekends, taking visitors much deeper into craft beer than most ever wanted to travel. But for curious trippers like me, well, I'm lapping it up like a dog at the bowl of knowledge.
So our ales will ferment for about 3 or 4 days, then we'll harvest yeast off them. Then we'll cool them down and age them cold for 2 or 3 weeks.
Brewing beer is a simple yet specific process, and humans have been doing it for millennia.
So we'll add these special malts in there to give it different colors and different flavors.
Okay.
So this is an English caramel malt. It actually tastes delicious. This is like sweet grape nuts. It's pretty tasty.
That is tasty. I could totally eat this in the morning with cereal or yogurt
Oh, yeah.
or something like that. Beer before it's beer. It's still pretty tasty. But just because the methods are traditional doesn't mean that there aren't boundaries to push.
So these are some of our barrels.
I was like, this should be in a winery.
Well, some of them
Not a
came
brew
from
house.
Hill Country Wineries.
Oh, really? Cool.
There's also some bourbon barrels.
So you're aging beer just like someone would age a wine?
Yes, exactly. The beer will age anywhere from 6 months to 18 months in the barrel, and then they'll come out completely different.
Beer in barrels. Feels like colonial times, but not. I mean, you guys are just constantly trying all sorts of different stuff, huh?
Yeah, there's more and more.
Each one turns out a little different, but of course they'll always brew the good old consistent standbys like Fireman's 4. Lots of Fireman's 4.
Okay, so this is our new packaging hall. This is kind of like the Laverne and Shirley moment of brewing. So you can see all the bottles coming by here. We're actually running at 400 bottles a minute here.
This is a big step up from the old days of like hand filling bottles, right?
Oh, definitely.
Stamping them.
Our original filler was a 3-head manual filler for 22-ounce bottles.
Look at this. It's huge.
That's a lot of cans.
That is a lot of cans. You know, I was thirsty when I got here. Now, I'm dying. Luckily, there's a tasting room where you'll find more real ale beers than anywhere else in the world, and you'll find a guy named Smitty who's gonna show us the goods.
So we've got kind of a couple of different counterpoints. Here, let's start with the Belgian yeast, start with the white. So real bright, tropical hop character.
That's good. It's hoppy, but it's not bitter.
That's coming from the dry hops.
It's kind of insane how many directions real ale takes 4 basic ingredients.
Our Devil's Backbone, which is a Belgian-style triple, very yeast-driven, banana, clovey kind of character.
I mean, listen to the way these guys talk about beer.
Real bright, citrus kind of character on the aroma and flavor. Accentuate and highlight some of that bitterness, but complement it, really. The darker one here is our Creek, which is a Belgian-style brown ale that we add about 1,000 pounds of tart cherries to. So
Cherries?
Cherries.
Yeah, there truly are no rules, especially when you get to the barrel stuff. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's not the same beer.
Not at all. The oak really starts to pop out. It smells like wood, like you walked into a barrel cellar.
Literally licking the barrel.
Yeah.
You know, what excites me is that you're describing beer like someone would describe wine.
Yeah.
But it's the vernacular now of beer. You know, it's not just, this is cold. You know, that like,
This one has bubbles.
This one's got bubbles. That's in a can and that's in a bottle. Like, fantastic. One more left, but it's a special one, and it only exists in this keg.
Just hold the tap just like that, get your mallet ready, back up, and slam it in.
If I miss this thing, this is going over all of you guys.
Keep going.
Yeah. And, yeah? Done? A cask-conditioned, extra-hopped barley wine. Talk about having a one-of-a-kind experience at the brewery. So what goes best with Hill Country beer? Well, Hill Country barbecue, of course. And at the command to come and eat it, I think I might just have to. This is Old 300 Barbecue, named after the original settlers that Stephen F. Austin brought to Texas. Well, because without these guys, there might not be a Texas. And that means no Texas barbecue, which would be a sad, sad existence. At least owner Lad Pepper thinks so. You got a connection to these folks?
I do not.
Well, you're a Texan, so we all have one, right?
I'm a Johnny-come-lately compared to these people.
guys. Oh, yeah, no, I think we all are. Lad's deepest connection to Texas is to that deep tradition of Texas barbecue, which he smokes up and serves in this very Texan establishment. Well, man, I'm interested in how you guys do barbecue.
Well, we do it right. We'll give you a tour of the kitchen. The pit is the heart of the restaurant.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
this pit stays on 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, except for about 3 hours on Sunday. I shut it down and clean it.
To give it a little Sabbath rest. Huh?
I'm going to use that. I'm going to
Okay,
take that,
yeah.
okay? We cook everything. Brisket's about 12 to 14 hours a day.
With this rotisserie, he can smoke 500 pounds at a time, which he does on nothing but live oak wood using dry rubs.
I've been doing this rub for 25 years. It's 3 ingredients.
You can guess there's probably some black pepper in there.
There's pretty obvious.
Some salt probably in there. As to the third one, I've got some ideas, but I'm not going to say it out loud.
Okay,
To protect your business. Lad's appreciation for the art of smoked meat runs as deep as the flavor in his barbecue.
So that's a good sampling of barbecue. We've got brisket, sausage, pork loin, and pork ribs.
That looks good.
And you and I are going to go tear into that, maybe
Nice.
with a cold beer.
What I love so much about Blanco is like every establishment has some good real ale either on tap or in the fridge. It's just one of the ways this hometown shows support for its hometown folks. So let's join them and eat.
Fantastic. Where should I start?
Well, it's Texas, so you got to start with brisket.
Amen. I was going to start there anyway, regardless of what you said, actually.
And on your sauces, you got.
I'll get there. I'm not going to sauce.
Thank you.
Straight from the get-go.
I was kind of a trap.
Okay.
I'm glad you
passed the test.
You passed my test.
Yeah. That's really good. Just the right amount of saltiness. Excellent. Rib time.
Rib time. Ribs are my favorite. And I tell you what, the rib, you will not offend me, but if you put a little bit of this sweet sauce on it.
Oh, yes, sir. What kind of folks come in here to Old 300?
All kinds. And that's the beauty of barbecue. It speaks to every level of person, in my opinion. You know, it's not just serving food, it's shaking your hand and saying thank you for being at my place, and I love it.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, so with the full belly, there's one last stop to make. Next door at the Blanco Bowling Club. This place is like a time capsule, full of wood paneling, hand scoring, and a version of bowling now relegated to just a few private clubs across Texas. 9-pin. And this is club president John Deckert.
So I understand this is like an old German tradition, is that right?
That's what I understand. It originated in Germany.
Okay.
And came over into this country from Germany.
And so that makes sense why it's in the hill country then, all the Germans.
Right.
On weekdays, bowling is members only. But on Saturdays, they let the public back into this sacred bastion of bowling tradition. Might as well give it a shot. Beyond being one pin less than regular bowling, pins are also set up in a diamond, not a triangle. And while knocking them all down is good, if you can leave the middle one standing, bonus points.
Look at here.
Oh! Bowlers also play in teams of 6, so the guy behind you has to clean up whatever you've left. But the guy who cleans up for everyone is the pin setter. This is where all the young guys start. Tonight, that's Wes, who has one of the most dangerous jobs in Texas.
Graffiti and everything, like there have been people doing this for decades now. You're part of a legacy of pin setters.
There's graffiti from 2005 and back.
All the way in 2005. How young are you again, man?
14.
Yeah. I like how there are no mechanics back here at all. Like nothing. The ball's not automated, pin setting's not automated. Wes is the machine. All right, next 9, I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna see if I can beat your time.
Oh! 9-ringer. Good job.
Never gonna make it.
Come on, come on.
I'm breathing heavy, man. I'm breathing like sucking wind.
I think I'll leave this to the youngsters and stick with bowling, which I'm not that great at either. I don't know. Maybe I'm not German enough for this 9-pin stuff.
Man, I can't hit anything.
Because you're doing it all wrong.
What?
Yes, your Huften and Beiner part is terrible.
Huften and what?
Yes, your hips and your footwork. Oh, you're embarrassing the entire motherland. Give me a ball, I'll show you. Take the ball. You cradle the ball. Then you throw the ball toward the pins. Now, show me. You cradle the ball. Oh, you're so bad.
What a day. Whether tripping to this part of hill country heaven to see history or Hollywood, lavender or lanes, rivers or redbuds, and whether you're into beer, barbecue, or a little bit of both, well then you'll find that a day trip to Blanco is anything but blank.
So I'll see all y'all out on the road. Bye con Dios, amigos.
Huh? Completely uncoachable.
First off, it's in the hill country, and well, who doesn't love that? But it's got an history. Back again.
87 years ago, our forefathers brought forth from this continent a new nation.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Sorry, Todd, that whacked. Are you okay? Did that hurt? Okay. It's like, yeah, answer, yes.
I'm not a woman, I'm a doctor. Queen medicine woman. Hello? Oh, that's loud. Ooh. Hips and footwork, okay. You're embarrassing the motherland. I'll show you. Give me a ball. There's spills of beer everywhere.
Okay, let's do it again.
All right, yeah. So put my schnitzel into it, I guess, right? Okay. Here it goes. Oh, wow. That was like a 25-pound ball. That ball dropped like a rock out of my hand.
One last one.
Howdy, y'all. Follow along with my adventures at Chet Tripper on Instagram and at The Day Tripper TV on Facebook and YouTube. Or head to thedaytripper.com for travel guides, past episodes, and info on our mobile app and Team Day Tripper. This episode was made for y'all with the help of our awesome partners. Check the caption for more info. Howdy, y'all. Chet the Day Tripper here. Thanks so much for tripping with us. Remember, while you're here, like this video, subscribe to our channel so that we can stay out there on the road and keep on tripping. Did we miss anything in this town? Leave us a comment, let us know. We love finding out about new stops with all of your tips. And if you love Epic Texas Day Trips, remember to check our channel. We got a lot of them on there. Also, don't forget, if you want some sweet Day Tripper merch or another cool Texas-made product, come see us in Georgetown at the Day Tripper World Headquarters. You can also shop online if you check the link down there in the caption. All right, y'all. Bye con Dios, amigos.